art really actually forces you to deal with yourself as a creator, but also as a viewer of art. It really is a mirror of yourself, because whatever you think or feel in that moment that you encounter it, that's you. You're the pure you.
Hey, I'm your host, Ronja Sakata, Queen of Joy, that's how my friends call me, talking to you from Zurich, Switzerland. I want to make this world more joyful and playful and colorful because we don't have a guarantee for tomorrow, so let's enjoy today. Will you join me? I'm all in. I founded the Joy Academy for exactly that reason, and on the Let's Create Joy podcast, we talk visions, dreams, self care, habits, challenges, creating joy, and much more in motivational solo episodes at the beginning of the month and inspiring talks with my wonderful guests. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Joy is my compass for getting fun and tangible daily inspiration for our monthly topic. You make the difference and you are the most important person in your life. Yes, we can live our best lives right now while we have our big vision in our head and heart. Let's dive right in. Enjoy! Welcome, Oibel, to the Let's Create Joy podcast. It's such an honor to have you here. He's from Zurich, I'm from Zurich, and we are presenting this show
Ooh.
in our best English.
Yeah.
Welcome, and just tell us, what do you do, what brings you joy, and how do you create joy? Because that's how we start our conversation.
Hmm. Well, that's actually pretty easy. Well, my name is Samora Bazarabusa, also known as Oibel or Oibel Art. That's my artist name. And I've basically been an artist all my life. In between, I did some music, but actually then went back again to visual arts. That's how all started for me as a young man, you could say, teenager, getting into hip hop, graffiti, and all of that stuff. And yeah, it actually never stopped since, and that's what brings me most of the joy. And through that, it's actually pretty easy to create joy. Well, I create what enjoys me, and just hope that there's other people that enjoy it as well. And it happens to be so that there is quite a few. So yeah, that's the
So
joy of
cool.
it.
Yes, and in your everyday life, I mean, I want to know more about your art and everything, but
Mhm.
like in your everyday life, do you have some tricks you could reveal to the audience, how you really create joy, or is it just like you have to have colors and or a pen or a wall, and then you create joy that way?
I mean, I think it's not in the end. It's not only. I mean, it's a. I think you have to look at it in a holistic way. That because one thing feeds the other, and it's all like a nice little circle that ends up in the same place again and starts over and over and over. So I think first of all you have to start with yourself. That's what I believe. That's why I like to spread the message of love, and it's your duty to spread love. What I like to say all the time, and what I mean with that also is just really that you have to first love yourself. The relationship with yourself has to be good first, and in order for you to be able to have a good relationship with other human beings, things, whatever. Because otherwise, I think it's rather difficult if you don't like yourself. It's yeah, that's just where it starts, and you can't skip that part. So you have to kind of start there, and in the end, I mean, I believe that happiness is a choice. It's a state of mind. It's you decide to be happy or not, and um, yeah, depending on your standards, you're happy with very little. And I mean, I'm happy just already to know that I wake up and I feel healthy. I mean, of course, everybody complains about themselves and like I have this here and that here and there, and I'm getting gray hairs and that and that and that. All right, but I mean, that's nothing that like really hope doesn't take you down as much. It's an ongoing process. I think everybody's like a work in process, and that's never stops. That's like that's life. It's the process that. And yeah, I think that's how, or that's the easiest way to create joy. First find joy within yourself as being yourself, and then you can bring it out to the world, something like that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's like my whole company. Joy is my compass. You just brought it to the point of you first have to love yourself. But that's
Yeah.
so difficult for a lot of people. So would you be willing to share, like, when did you realize, did you love yourself always, or was it like a moment where you learned it, or was it a progress over time? Because I mean, as a teenager, or for me it was when I was 17, my friends began to die in avalanches and car accidents,
Mhm.
and like a various, like, it was always like the phone call, somebody died, and it was the shock and the grief,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
also the realization that this life is so fucking precious. It's just not worth complaining all the time. You said it, like, it's a choice. And I
Yeah.
made this choice quite early, that I want to enjoy this life. I want to have fun. I want to have joy. I want to be surrounded by people I love, and not doing things because I think I have to or should, or
Mhm.
yeah. So how about you? When, I mean, you said, does this make sense? It made so much sense, and it's like the wisdom of the whole universe. I think it's simple, but it's everything, and it's not so easy to achieve if you're in a bad place, if you're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
understand. Yeah,
tell us more, please.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's always, most of the things are easier said than done, and especially also the simple things that seemingly simple things are most of the times the most difficult, because they how do you say, like my art that I do compared to like realistic art or so is seemingly simple, because it's just made up of a few lines, maybe some more lines sometimes, but these lines have to be exactly in place, because if they're not, then it doesn't look right. And I can't, like, hide it with some effects or shadowing or whatever. If the line is not right, then it doesn't look right. And it may seem simple, but actually yeah, you can't hide anything. When if something is simple, you have to be really honest with it. And I don't know if I consciously, made all of these choices and decisions, or if I'm just now, like, in hindsight, started, like, realizing that actually that's a bit how things work. That you can't just like skip that step. You have to be you have to have self awareness, and yeah, because when you're being delusional, that's when you start going down the wrong paths, and you end up in places you don't want to be. And um but I think these moments also have something good, because that's like the moments where you're the most honest also with yourself, when you're kind of a bit like upset also with yourself. So like these moments are also, they also have their purpose. Of course, you shouldn't stay hooked in them, because that's when you like easy spiral into depression, I guess. um So yeah, I don't know if I made a conscious choice of like that's how it's to be. I think I was a bit just always in that lane unconsciously, and when things went wrong, I didn't understand it straight away, and I was a bit forced to dissect my actions, my life choices, and kind of analyze what got me to that point. And I think through that, and of course, also you need other people. I mean, like there's this philosophical question: if you would be the only single person on Earth, would you know who you are? Or the only, let's say, the only living organism on Earth, would you know who you are? Because you actually need the reaction of others to understand also what you've been doing, because these blind spots that you don't always see, you would never see if nobody would react to them. So it's a thing alone, but also you need like everybody else too. So it's yeah it gets kind of easily complicated somehow, or you just go deep into very philosophical stuff. And I really understand that, like depending where you are in life, or where you are also maybe even located, or what your situation is, you don't even have time to think of all of those things, because you first have to kind of just survive. And like, what will I eat, where will I sleep? And I see myself very privileged to be born and raised here in Zurich, Switzerland, where most of the things are just a given, and you get many chances. And yeah, it's really actually a blessing. I can't say it else how. I mean, nobody chooses where they are born. So yeah, um, with that awareness, yeah, I really wish actually that more people born under these circumstances. I mean, of course, that's not just because you are here, it's easy. That's also too easy to say, because it's not. Um, but if you are halfway, like somehow, I have to watch out what I say. Like it's it's really
It's
not that easy.
brilliant what
You
you
can.
say. It's brilliant. You can we will do show notes and you will read through that text and like, dang, I'm great. I'm saying good
Oh,
things. Really, I
I,
mean
I,
it. I'm
don't- I
listening.
don't think of myself as so great actually.
I think you're
Because
a genius
as you say,
and
it's
a wise
as
man.
I said, it's a work in process. And yeah, I think one should really be aware of what one already has, or like really count your blessings. I mean, that's I'm not like a religious person, but I would say I'm spiritual. But then again, religion is actually a spiritual thing. So yeah, but I know, like, I don't like believe in a specific, like God, with all of these confessions that are there. But I do believe in energies that exist, and that are somehow around us. And to tap into those is like kind of what we have unlearned over the years of humanity. And we put ourselves like a bit in this golden cage, and we don't actually really see what is really valuable. And most of the people put value on material things, which is very, if you ask me, short term thinking. um, because it goes way past that. Material values, you have to renew them all the time, because they kind of lose their value. They're cool in the first few, sometimes even just minutes or seconds you have them, and they decreases very fast, and then you need a reboot. And yeah, now I just lost my thought of train. But like, yeah, what I was trying to say is that I wish more people would just really value what they already have, and what is just given for them, which is not just to be taken for granted, because I feel nothing is to be taken for granted at all. And if you kind of try to live by that mindset, I think you're the most thankful for everything that you have at all times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like being alive is the first thing, and then you
Mhm.
mentioned the circumstances. And I mean, that's something I think about a lot. We are so blessed in this country and with everything we have. And even
Mhm.
here, as you said, people have problems, and I don't want
Yeah.
to put those down. But yeah, like, don't complain when the bus is late for 2 minutes, please. Like,
Yeah.
we have a bus every
Yeah.
7 minutes. It's like
Mhm.
the gratefulness. I think that's a very, very wonderful tool to just feel the ground on your feet, the fresh
Mhm.
air, and
Mhm.
be thankful that you're here in these blessed circumstances, and then do
Yeah.
something with it. Don't work for a job you hate every
Mhm.
day and then you have a burnout, or like, do something. And that's what I admire so much. I mean, you do art. Art is not this profession. Did you hear that from your parents or from your surrounding when you said, I want to do art? Like, what was your path to your art? I mean, you're,
I mean,
yeah.
actually, my father is actually an artist. He does
Okay.
animation, or he
Yeah,
used to do
cool.
animation, and my mother was always like interested in a lot of art, doing patchwork and pottery and things like that. And so I was always around art, very young already, and yeah, but still it's like that aspect of like, just, like do learn a proper job. I have to also,
Proper.
I'm working
Yeah.
on my terminology. Just learn a safer job, like that's maybe a better way to put it. Learn a
But
safe
did
job
your
that you can.
parents say that, or other people in your life?
I think for my mother it was important that I have like a safe job that I can fall back on in case other things don't work, that you have like this, like the safety parachute that you can fall back on, just in case whatever you're trying out is not working out. You can always go back to that, and at least earn some money, pay off debt, things like that, and then like restart again once you are back at the point where like you can take that freedom for yourself to do so. Yeah.
And what do you have a proper job, or did you work around that?
Yes, I made an apprenticeship as a painter,
Yeah.
just classical, on construction, painting walls and doors and facades and stuff like that, just in mostly white and gray. And then in between, I was in retail for quite a while. I did a bunch of stuff. I did customer service. I have worked in like a TV film studio for a while, and yeah,
But did
through
you, I
all.
mean, that's so cool that you learned painter. I love our Swiss system. You're not just like doing an internship, you really are an official, trained, certified painter when you do is it
Hmm. Yeah,
a 3 year long
yeah. It
education
was a
or
3 year
4?
long apprenticeship, and actually, I wanted to learn to do lettering, to paint letters. But why? And then I didn't find an apprenticeship, and I learned that if you would become a painter, you could do another after those 3 years. You could add another 2 years of education to get to that job. But while I was in the apprenticeship, that job kind of more or less died out, and like the technical evolution came up, and it was about plotting and putting the letters up in a kind of as stickers, and not painting them anymore. So that put me down a bit, but then my motivation at least was that I loved paint. I've always loved paint, so I learned all about paint and
Yeah, that's
how
what
to.
I was thinking. I mean, you if you're a pro about paint, I mean, even painting a piece of art that not after a year you sold it, everything falls down off the canvas because it's dry or whatever. It's not only an art, it's just a really a profession, right? You can't play around
Yeah,
with
but I
art if
think
you're
that's
doing
a
it seriously.
yeah, but I think that's a whole nother thing because you have to learn new paint actually, because you can't use the same paint for a facade like as you use for a canvas.
Of course.
But like as the what the material paint is, like mixing colors and handling a brush and all of that, like I had like an advance because of that apprenticeship. I know how to handle the brush, and I've been always like kind of in one way or another practicing this before I knew that I would be actually wanting to do paintings with a brush on a canvas. So once I started doing that, it was actually quite easy for me because I already had like this experience from the job, just using brushes all the time. And through also what you learn there, like building up the different layers from the base layer to the next and the next, I just also had that experience, and this all comes in pretty handy for me now with what I'm doing. So yeah,
Can you tell the story with the big wall, please? I just saw I mean, I know your biggest, or I assume that this is at the moment your biggest artwork in Zurich,
it
but
is
I read on your website
in
how it
Zurich and
came.
in the
So,
world.
and in the world. Okay. At the
Yes.
moment. At the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Please book Oibel for your big skyscraper where there is a spare wall to do a mural, right?
Yes. Absolutely. I want to paint the whole world. That's my goal.
Yes. Can you tell the story about this wall, or is that like something you told about so much? You told people, so
No, I mean it's something I've been dreaming of actually for a really long time. I wanted to do a mural, a really big mural, and I still want to do more. But it's something that you have to go about a bit proactively and approach the owners, write them a letter and make them an offer or however. And I never kind of found the time to do so. I was always like, yeah, next year I'm going to go and take all of these pictures and I'm going to set up my concepts and my ideas so I can just pitch it to them, by doing a mock-up on the pictures that I'm taking of their facades, and then I will, with my Procreate and my iPad, just add the whole painting onto the facade so they already have like a visualization of the whole thing, and then I will pitch it to them. And on a day like end of what was that end of 2020, I just, for the hundreds or whatever thousandth time, I passed this wall. I was like, this is just a dream wall, this crossing and everything. And the wall is so disgusting, ugly. It has to be painted and it's the perfect spot. And I just want to do it. So I took a picture while at the red light in front of the wall from my, with the car. I took a picture with my phone. I went home and I added a digital painting that I already had onto the wall. And I posted it on Instagram, just like saying, like, look, if you have any walls, I have ideas, I have concepts, talk to me. And I kind of forgot that I was in my day, doing grocery shopping, picking up the kids, bringing them to bed, and once they're in bed, I sit down in the kitchen like, what a day, and I go to my DMs on Instagram, and I just have that message of the house owners just basically saying, "Hey, wow, this looks really great. Wouldn't you want to let us know how you would go about? Send us an email and let's do this. We also think this wall needs something."
so
And I
cool.
was I was shocked, in a good way, of course. And yeah, 9 months later, I painted the wall. So that was like, yeah.
And
I
there again,
manifest. I probably I
you're
manifested it all of these years, and now it just happened. Like,
absolutely.
boop. Yeah,
But you have to do the first little action, right? You have to tell the world or like let them know. You didn't even wrote directly to them.
I
They
didn't even know
saw
to
it.
whom the house belonged. No idea.
So cool.
I
So cool.
just sort of like, hey, let's just do a mock up and just put it out there. And I didn't expect, and I never had the idea that maybe the house owners could see this. I just thought, like, anybody who has walls. And I got a whole bunch of feedback. Like, somebody told me, hey, I have this wall in the backyard of my house. You could paint that one if you want. I can't, give you anything, but you can have the wall. And some other people wrote to me that they have walls in their restaurant where I could hang some paintings. And so I got a lot of cool feedback, which I was already really happy for. And then just this message in all of this was like, what? It was very surreal. And it still is, actually. When I pass the wall, it's going to be, in a month's time, it's going to be 1 year old. So yeah. And yeah, I still somehow can't believe it. It's Yeah.
And it's such a cool wall. Every time I pass there, I have to take a picture. I can't go, and I cross the crossing there usually by bicycle. So I have if there is a
Yeah,
green light, I have to stop and go on the um what is that called where
the
the people
sidewalk.
walk, the sidewalk. Thank you, and
Yeah.
just take a picture. And my husband's restaurant is nearby, so yeah, and my girl loves it so much too, and it's so inspirational, you know. I really want her to know that you can do whatever you want, and there are so many cool ideas out there. And you, of course, like a proper job in Switzerland, there are so many cool apprenticeships you can do, like goldsmith, silversmith, you know, like there's
Yeah.
so much creativity there. It's not, and I love that this wall got your expertise and your art and your love, you know. It's, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
otherwise how
thank
would
you.
you, if you're only used to draw on canvas, you don't know how to treat the wall, right, with the layers and weather and
Yeah, I mean, you can get informed on that somehow. I mean, there's so many artists in the world doing
of course,
this
of
kind of
course.
stuff, and
But you
most of the
were just
times,
like, I know how to do that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's also through, like, really watching other artists that do this a lot, following them, but of course also asking some friends of mine that have done more walls already, like how they would go about. And yeah, like that's just kind of gathering information, and then in the end, of course, you have to make the decision yourself how you will do it. um, I mean, I also could have decided to do it with a bunch of paint buckets instead of spray paint. Would have been a lot more messy and a lot more material. Maybe I would have spent less money on that paint than on spray paint, but it would have been a lot more messier. So yeah, I mean, making art is really also just like life. It's tons of decisions that you have to make. And yeah, in the end, all of these decisions come together as a end result. And yeah, and once it's done, it's like, okay, what's next, like you're already thinking of the next. Yeah, but like to have this as an
Is there a
example
next,
also for yourself, it's like, okay, it's possible, it works, my
yes,
idea works. Okay,
yes.
let's do more.
Is there a next dream wall in your mind, or you already have booked the project?
There's plenty dream walls in my mind, which I really want to also do these mock-ups. And actually now I have to really go about it more proactively, even because now I have an example. Now it's not anymore like I'm sending you a mock-up. I can really say, look, I have done it already, and it works. Like, my ideas work, and I could do this for you as well. So yeah, that's my next thing, actually, that I hope to get some pitches out by the end of this year. So maybe next year can look at doing the next big thing. Yeah.
So cool. And I see you have a cap in your design, you have a big picture behind you and another one on the other wall.
Yeah,
How
more
can people buy your wall? Oh, you should turn that way. So
more
cool.
over here. Yeah, well, I'm in my studio. Like I could show you around a bit. See, here's
So
the
cool.
paintings I made over the weekend and last week.
Yeah, the live
So
painting in the
yeah,
train station of Zurich. That was so cool.
yes, exactly.
I met this wise man the first time at the train station. It was so cool to see you there. And my
Yeah.
father-in-law was so impressed, like, do you know him, this artist? I said, well, I just met him for the first time, but I will do a podcast interview.
Yes,
So
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
So
nice.
cool.
Yeah, I like to have my art really everywhere. I mean, I'm inspired by one of the greats, Keith Haring, which he's like one of the pioneers when it comes to really having like a pop-up shop or just a shop in general, having art on merchandise. Yeah, merchandise is also like actually not really a nice word because it's like merchandise always has to me like something. It sounds like it's something cheap, that you give away and for commercial causes. And but no, I actually like to do quality stuff. So like this, which I worked with a friend from the Flat Cap store, which he can really produce in a professional manufacturing site, where I think also they produced the all new era caps. So yeah, I like to see my stuff on quality things, of course, also. And if you buy a t-shirt from me, it would be nice that if it's being washed 10 times, it still looks nice and it's not looking like uh, like a piece of paper that you just can throw away. And um yeah, that's why I have my online shop. I would like to also just make my art accessible to as many people as I can, because like this canvas that I just showed you is not necessarily a very accessible thing in terms of the pricing. Um, so like if you can get a t-shirt of me for 30 bucks, or a mug for 16 bucks in my store, um, then you still can support me and have a cool piece of art, I would say. I mean, that's also, I think, a discussion that is being held a lot. Like, if the art is on a mug, is it still art, or like, is it this kind of merchandise? um but yeah, I'm really inspired by Keith. He had a big influence on me, because he really started, he had like little radios with his stuff, he had inflatables, he had pins, t-shirts, like fold up carousels, which are like a book, you fold it up and this whole carousel comes out, things like that, just all kinds of stuff that you could think of. And they called him a sellout back then. The art scene really didn't like what he was doing. um, but he was just
the
like,
art
look,
scene doesn't like to get disrupted, right? So
no, but for him it was like arts for everybody, and he tried to make it available to everybody. And I think he laid the first, like bricks for people like Obey and so on, that would come later on, where they would actually basically do what he's doing and put their art that was in the streets first onto t-shirts and fashion and other items, and make it available to the whole world, basically. Yeah. So
what are your dreams there? Like, I mean, you could produce. It's so easy to produce cheaply. Like, there are some web shop thingies where you just upload your picture as an artist, and then
hmm
you can buy everything, like cushions and. But it's not
hmm
good quality, right? I assume that you have the good
you
stuff
can
in your
find
web shop.
good
Oh, really?
quality. I actually do it at the moment. I also do it in this kind of way, as a drop ship.
Oh,
um
cool.
because you have in terms of, for example, t-shirts, you have a big range of quality that you can choose from. You can choose
Okay.
the cheapest, or you can also say, I would like to have organic cotton and something that lasts. And of course, I always order the things for myself first, and I try out, and like I wash it a lot, and I wash it the wrong way, and I put it in the dishwasher and all of those things, just to see what happens before I
Okay.
make it available, because I don't want people to spend their money on something that, as I said, after washing it 10 times you can throw it away because it just really doesn't look nice anymore,
Yeah.
or throw it away, you don't want to wear it anymore. Um, so yeah, and it's, for me, it's a cool way because I don't have to take too big of a risk, because, like, for example, if I'd order 50 t-shirts, I have to think of, on, okay, how many S, how many M's, how many L's, and then in the end you will probably sell out all the L's and the M's, and you will be sitting on some S's and some XL's that you can't get rid of, and you actually would like to get rid of everything, and with the time you just have stock piling up that you can't sell. And I just made this experience already a few times, and kind of bothered me. And now it's in a way that if you order a t-shirt from me, that t-shirt is just being made. It's not in, I don't have any stock anywhere.
Made
So
in
it happened.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens like that. And it's a bit more on the expensive side for me. I don't have as a big margin as if I would do it the other way. But for me, actually, it's more important that that I can make it available to people, and try to, like, make the big bucks with something else. Of course, if I have a high quantity of orders, then that changes. But in this kind of way, I can just, I don't have to have a stock room, which in the end also will be money that I have to come up with, to pay the stock room. Then, like, shipping is also, if you place the order, it goes directly from where it's produced, it comes to you. Um, so that's very convenient for me, and it's low risk, as well, and I still can offer you something nice that has some quality. And yeah, so
And people will see your art and get to know you, right? If somebody
yeah.
asks like, where is that t-shirt from? You know, when I brought your stickers home from the train station where we met,
Hmm.
Mika, my daughter, was like, where did you get these stickers? I see them everywhere in Zurich. That's so cool, right? She was very
Ah,
impressed that I brought her some stickers of you. So
nice,
yeah,
nice. Ah,
next
cool.
generation is waiting for, is already
Good,
admiring
good.
you.
The next generation is very important, especially
Yes.
the young ones. I like to work with kids, therefore, because, yeah,
Are you
I
working
mean,
with kids?
yes, I do workshops, during, the vacation.
Oh, how cool
Uh,
is that?
I do, like, customizing design workshops. It's like based on the customizing, and for me that's cool also, because I like to draw, actually, or paint on anything I can. And I'm kind of just teaching them the process of um, how to get to the point where you can put your design onto something. Like, I help them develop their design, their ideas, and help them to understand, like, maybe the space that you have available, already defines the idea that you can have, because it's a difference if you have, like, this much space, or if you have this whole, house that you can paint. But the thought process is the same. If it's a small thing to paint or a big thing, you have to be aware of your space, and that then determines what can I do with the space, and the surface determines, like, what kind of paint you will use, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's
So they
funny
can bring
also.
their sneakers or skateboards
Hmm.
or whatever.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
how cool is
exactly.
that?
Yeah. And but it's also funny because always within, the process of, creating, there's a point where you have to deal with yourself. And
Yes.
yeah, it's very interesting to see how some of those young kids already have difficulties doing this and they really get to their limits. um, but yeah, it's nice because yeah, staying in your comfort zone doesn't bring you any progress, and it's too easy. You get lazy quick, and yeah, it has to be uncomfortable sometimes because that's how you move on. Yeah.
That's what you said before. When you have a crisis in life, you it's
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, it's a starting point for revelations or
Mm-hmm.
realizations, and
Mm-hmm.
you are
Yeah.
like playing the game of life on another level, right? After,
Yeah.
do you
Absolutely.
still have that, like with every painting, this like, oh my god, this is so shitty, with every artwork, or are you kind of over that? Like,
No, I'm never over that. Some with some, it's more or less. It also depends on, like how you feel yourself. But I have learned that actually in the end I will like it, so I just pull through, even if in the middle of it I'm like, oh no. But then I'll just keep going and I'll just finish it. Um, yeah, it's also like, you have to respect your own ideas and plans, and pull through for yourself, because otherwise in the end you also lose the belief in yourself that you actually can even do something if you don't respect your own ideas and what you have started, like at least bring it to an end. If you don't like it, you still can scrap it then, but like don't just give up in the middle of it. And yeah, that's kind of what I've learned. I mean, that's also with me. I have to make art because that's what's, kind of, it helps me process a lot of things going on in my life. While I'm doing it, I think of all of those things. And yeah, really, if you start something, finish it. Just
and
because
when is it
that's,
finished? Because for all the perfectionists, that's so hard, you know. And in a painting, I mean, you could do more all the time, right? But you have to, I mean, your experience is so many years, but somehow you have to know, now it's done. I could do more, but no, it's done.
yeah,
How
I
do you,
mean, that,
I mean, what you said before is so much valuable for life too, you know? Respect your ideas, go for it, bring it to an end. If you don't like it in the end, like, this is so philosophical again. It's great. It's so great.
yeah, I mean, it's a feeling. It's like I'm chasing feelings. Actually, it's not even ideas, because like most of the time, it's like I yeah, the idea I have is more of like a feeling that I would like to manifest onto something. And if the visual of that feeling in the beginning was a circle and I end up with the square, but it still feels like the circle that I thought of in the beginning, then I'm fine. Like, it's also like learning how to, adapt and how do you say, um, not see everything as a mistake, and just try to make the best of it. Just like, okay, I got here now. Okay, well, I'm not going to go back, and I'm also not going to stop. So what am I going to do now? With what I have, and then just keep on moving and try to make the best of that. And I think that's the point also, where you then actually don't like it in that moment, but in the end, if you pull through, it still turns out nice, because you just made the best of it. And in hindsight, yeah, I try not to judge myself too much in the process, or not judge myself at all. I mean, that's just training, also like meditation. You can't just have no thoughts. That's almost impossible. It's, you have to train yourself to focus, and there, that's also like a way of just training myself not to judge all the time, and just do it. And in the end, you can always, look at it and ask yourself, okay, what did I just do? Why did I do it? And learn something about yourself like that, instead of always be kind of changing direction or stopping before you even made the first step. um yeah, so for
Do
me
you
that's.
like every artwork you put out there, or sometimes you're like, I don't like this piece of art, it's finished, and
Hmm.
if somebody buys it, it's like, are you kind of, this art came out of me and it's now out in the world, and it's not my responsibility to like it myself, but if somebody likes it, it's his or hers or theirs, like, does that happen, or are you satisfied and only putting out art to sell, where you're 100% like, yes, that's.
I actually like all of my art. Some pieces where I'm just not sure if anybody else would like it, but I put it out there nevertheless. Like I'm, yeah, where I don't feel so confident about it, but I still like it. And yeah, funny enough, many of the times these are the pieces that people come in and like, oh wow, what is this? And you're like, oh, what? You like
So
this? So, oh, okay, cool. Well, like it's all really like how people perceive things, and I made it in the end, and I'm not going to scrap it. I'm not going to throw it away. And if it talks to somebody, then even better. Like also a lot what people see in my artworks. I learn a lot about myself because of their point of view, and I'm like, I never looked at it like that actually. And yeah, that's really interesting to see also with what people resonate with or what they see in an artwork. I actually therefore don't like to give titles to artworks, because I would like everybody to see what they see in it, and that's what it is. So because in the end, if I tell you this is a palm tree, you're going to look for the palm tree in the painting, and if you can't find it, you're like, this is not a palm tree. But you should actually decide yourself, and I think that's also the point where the viewer gets some viewers get into conflict with themselves, because they may be shocked of what they feel when they see something, or what they think when they see something, and they might not like it, or they're scared to be open about it. So that's what I also learned. So they prefer it to have a title, or prefer you to tell them what this artwork is all about, because they're insecure if that what they feel and say and see is the right thing. But I mean, there's no right or wrong at the end of the day.
I think
So
that comes so much when you paint the picture as a child and you show it
mhm,
to grown-ups. It's like, oh, is that a house? It's always like, you didn't paint the house, but oh, okay, this grown-up sees a house, so it might be
mhm,
a house. It's kind of, I really like when people like, I realize that I just say, wow, what did you draw? So
yeah,
the little artist can say what they were
mhm,
thinking,
mhm,
not me putting some cookie
mhm,
cutter like
yeah,
words on it just because I think this should be whatever, a cat or
yeah,
so.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And yeah, I just like that fact about art, that it's actually really yeah, maybe putting people in their place is maybe not the right thing to say, but it provokes an emotion. And this may be, it could be any kind of emotion, but as long as it provokes an emotion, then that's already the first thing, which I think is cool. Some people, they maybe dislike it, some love it, and all in between. um but yeah, art really actually forces you to deal with yourself as a creator, but also as a viewer of art. It really is a mirror of yourself, because whatever you think or feel in that moment that you encounter it, that's you. You're the pure you. And instead of like saying, wow, what the hell is this, I don't like it, and walking away, you could ask yourself, why do I not like it? and find like and realize about yourself like, oh, I don't like this and that because that's in there and that reminds me of this and that. And like it's really something where you learn a lot about yourself. And that's why I believe there should be more art all over the place and in every corner, on every wall, and just everywhere. Because the more people find themselves and therefore start also accepting themselves and then loving themselves, now we're back with the self-love where we started, the lesser hate there will be out there, because people really actually dislike people that are doing their thing because they are not. And those people that do their thing are a reminder to them that they are not doing their thing, and that's why they don't like them, and they try to tell them, hey, but this is not a real job, and you don't have to think it's so easy, because and
Yes, don't think it's so easy to get the biggest wall in Zurich you always
all of
wanted.
those, like all of those things that they then say to you, maybe also even unconsciously, is because you are reminding them of that you actually, it's possible to be yourself and have some sort of success with it or feel good with it and go down your path. And that's what makes you happy in the end. It's not paychecks don't make you happy. It's short, it's also very short term. Like I watched this street food documentary the other day on Netflix, and the guy with his food truck, he just says, you know, since I have this food truck, I have never been so broke in my life, but at the same time, I have never been so happy. And I mean, I think that just says it all. It's
And
not.
I really believe that if you're continuing, as you said, don't stop, don't quit with the thing which makes you so happy. In the end,
Hmm.
you will be successful because your vibe and you're just spreading the world, the love, as you say. It's your what is your duty to spread love is your
Yeah,
tagline.
yeah,
So you change the world with your passion and what you do, and you will make the bucks for living and for whatever you dream of while doing what you're good at and what you love to do. It's just it has to happen. Maybe it takes some time. And all
yeah.
these the overnight successes, they maybe took 12 years, and people
Yeah, but I
will.
mean, in the end, also, what is the definition of success? I mean, success is to be, if you have a healthy life and a happy life, I would say you're pretty successful. It's not about the bank account, but are you happy and are you healthy? Like these two things. And then I would say you have a successful life, and that definition is just in the wrong place most of the time. It's the definition of success is always in terms of value in money. How big is your bank account and all of that? And but I mean, it's
I
not
just
about.
think
It's
a lot of money in the hands of good people, we can change the world, like
Yeah,
while doing things you love, you're good at, you're making money, you have more power. It's just at
yeah,
the moment it works like
absolutely,
this.
absolutely. I mean, I don't say you have to be a starving artist. I mean, I also think that's like this romantic vision of. I mean, it's not funny if if you like have to eat cup noodles for breakfast and for lunch and for supper every day because that's all you can afford. Um, that's not the idea. I mean, of course, you have to kind of make a living, but try to make it with something that you love to do. And if everybody would be like kind of following down that path, nobody really would have to be doing things they don't want to, because like I couldn't think of being a truck driver, but there's people that absolutely love that job and they're the right person to do the job. And that goes, actually, I believe that for every profession there is somebody that does it with a passion, which loves to do
That's
it.
and that's just a real fact. I mean, my I hate bookkeeping. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do that. And my bookkeeper, she's just glowing when she's talking about numbers and tax
Yeah.
files. She's
So she's
just
the right
so
person to
happy.
do it. Yeah.
Yes, and she's
Yeah.
wonderful. You know, she even wears a pink pullover. What's that in English?
Sweater.
Sweater when she comes into my office with the pink wall. She's the sweetest lady and so happy with bookkeeping. And I'm so happy to have her. I can give her all my mess with the receipts, and she's doing it perfectly, wonderfully,
Yeah.
with so much love. You know, you feel it in the
Yeah.
folder of the bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the goal. And I know sometimes you have a job you really don't like, but you could start to bring the joy there, you know, have some fun in the office or whatever you do. And maybe some places are just so not right for you, you have to leave, otherwise you
Mm-hmm.
get sick, or bigger
Yeah.
problems occur. It's just not fair for yourself to stay there just because of safety, or because you
Yeah,
should.
but I mean, again, that is also then that's us here, you know. I mean, many people they don't have that choice, but that's why I also believe, because I have the privileges I have, I owe it to everybody that does not, to make something of them as good as I can, and also, you know, maybe try to be a bit of an example that it's possible. Although I also have my hard times where I just think like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And is it necessary to go through all of this, you know, not sleeping, and you know, maybe also sometimes unhealthy eating and all of that, and just, you know, like trying to fight for it when there's a lot easier things I could do, you know, where I just can go and kind of pick up the money and just, yeah, sit on my paycheck. And I just really want to kind of show that it's possible, although sometimes I also struggle with the belief that it is. But you know, like, these are the days where you are being honest with yourself, like, and you maybe have to adjust and make some changes. But yeah, I really think I owe it to all that don't have the opportunity to use my opportunities that I get to the fullest. Yeah.
And I mean, in the internet age, internet can be used for evil stuff, but also for so much good stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, you found your wall within that, not, yeah, because the right people saw it.
Mhm.
And yeah, my grandmother was an artist, and nobody knew about her because she was a
Yeah.
girl, and she had to get married, and yeah, there was no Instagram. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, and I love these stories, you know, also from countries where it's so much harder than in Switzerland. But I mean, the coolest stories, I don't know if you follow Humans of New York, the blog. And
No.
I can highly recommend you that. It's a
Okay.
guy from New York, and he has now, I don't know, 16 million readers.
Mhm.
And he just speaks to people on the street, you know, randomly, and then he, I don't know how he does it, with the greatest questions. These stories are so amazing. And then there was one woman, she produced shoes in Pakistan. She learned, her family was like shoe, you know, like, I don't know
Yeah.
the word, like leather workers, you know,
Mhm.
doing all the leather stuff from base to shoe. And now they have this big sneaker company with super sustainable and fair produced shoes in her hometown in Pakistan. And yeah, it's just like, it's so much
Wow.
possible today. So please, if you have a dream, just maybe you have a job which is boring, but as a side hustle, you just start what you love doing, and the
Yeah.
energy of that will fuel your job, or you will find the next step, and then off you go. Like,
Yeah.
believe in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, and there's a lot of patience involved, and also sometimes you have to really, you know, go on this self-awareness trip and ask yourself, you know, like, who am I really, and is this really something I want, and why do I want it? And then yeah, over time, it's something will happen. I always say also good things come to those who make, if you don't do nothing, nothing's going to happen. So you really have to, at some points, excuse my language, bust your ass. But that's just what it takes to move forward, and you shouldn't be too a pity for yourself also to sometimes accept that, okay, now is not the right moment. Many times I had to go back to doing jobs that I didn't want to do because I had to pay off debt, because the last idea I tried out just didn't work. But I kind of knew, okay, I'll pay this off, and once I'm back at square one, I'll try it again, and I'll try it as long as I can until it works. I'll Because that's really all I want to do, and what I know how to do best. And I'll be so unhappy, if I didn't at least try. I mean, because I guess at the end of your life you won't be regretting what you have done, but rather what you have not done. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
You
there
kind of said the message to the world already, but if I ask you, even though you already had the most wisest word ready right now, like if you have the mic, whole world is listening. What is your message? Maybe you just said it and it's all done, but I'm
it's
sure
your
you have
duty to
another.
spread love, and you have to start with yourself. You have to love yourself first, and once you love yourself you can love the next person, and then that's like a chain reaction. It's contagious, like, um, that's how it goes. And if everybody can feel love for themselves, they will have less hate for others that can love themselves, because they don't remind them of something that they also could be doing, but they're maybe too lazy, or they're too caught up with other stuff. Or yeah, I really believe that that's where the root is, that if that's not aligned, then things go off track. Because if I'm hateful to somebody that is doing their thing, depending on what I'm willing to do, I might really hurt that person. And that again has a chain reaction that spirals into more bad stuff. And you end up with a war
Yeah.
in the worst case, like all of those guys starting these wars. I don't think they have a lot of love for themselves. They're pretty disillusional and delusional, or how do you say that? Yeah, like, because they want something somebody else has, and if they don't get it, they're willing to take measures that are just off the chain. And yeah, why do you need that so bad? Why can't we just share it? Why do you have to say this is mine and I want to control it? And this has, if you ask me, a lot to do with how you perceive yourself and what you feel about yourself. And it's just that with the power those people have, the outcome is so much worse than if I just, I'm a bit, grumpy and hateful, and I want something. It's not going to cause a war. So yeah.
And the other way around, we can really, with I say the ripple effect of joy, like
Mm-hmm.
joy is contagious, love is contagious, kindness is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think we can change and also save the world. I know it sounds so sweet and a little bit cute, but I really believe it. We
Yeah.
have power in our personal actions, and
Yeah.
yeah, let's
Absolutely.
use it.
And I mean, that's also the belief that I want to instill in people. Like, you can change something, and you don't, like, if you think of, I'm going to go to whatever country there is war and stop that war, that's also very delusional. You have to start with your own little surrounding, what you can really, everybody is a little influencer in their own little circle. And it only takes one person that you can influence in a nice way, and that goes to the next and to the next. And really stop hanging on all of that things, that those things that go wrong, negative stuff. Nowadays that tends to get more attention, but like the good stories should be told more, because it's not
Yes.
all evil. It's not all
Yes.
evil. It's like 8 billion people in this world, and it's impossible that all of them are just, you know, bad, and the world is so bad and bad and bad. It's not.
No.
Just
Lots of
the
lots of
the
lots
the
of
nice stories don't sell as good as the bad ones. So it's up to us to make nice things cool, and not just because when things work out, everybody's like, yeah, it's supposed to work out. You know, what are you talking about? Just move on. But if something goes wrong, it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. You're telling everybody how bad and how wrong everything is, but it should be the other way around, actually. You
So
know.
we're starting with that. I thank you so, 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 so much for this
Thank you.
conversation. Please tell people where they can find you. I assume with
Um, it's oibelart.com. That's where my webpage is, and from there you can find all of my socials. You can find me as Oibelart on at the end on TikTok, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I'm all over the place in terms of that. My shop, of course, on also on my webpage. Um, yeah, I
and
think.
if you have walls or if you have custom requests, just
Yeah, just email
contact
me,
this
send me a
gentleman.
DM. I eventually will get to it. Maybe not in 24 hours. Sometimes I also have blind eyes there, and it maybe even would take me a week, but I will get to it eventually. And yeah, I actually always reply. I do not reply. So yeah, I mean, that's how we got to this podcast.
Yes,
So yeah,
I was facing your wall and just I think I even posted a story with the question, would you be on my podcast? And you said yes. I was so happy. And now we're here. Thank
yeah.
you so, so, so
Thank
much. It
you.
was a big pleasure. And go you.
You
I'm
too.
looking forward to your worldwide art inspiring with your
Yes,
walls
Dinky and
and
the
canvas.
Brain. What are we doing tonight?
Yes,
The same like every night. We're trying to take over the world.
yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's
Have
what
a
I want
great
to.
evening and
You
talk to you
too.
soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Samora Vasarabusa or Oivel. I mean, how amazing was that interview? I'm still floating on all the magic he said, and I'm so kind of proud that I live in the same city and I can look at his artwork when I drive to my husband's restaurant and look at this wall and know the whole story behind it. And I spent a whole hour with him and his wisdom about the world. I love that. And our message is so similar. You know, it depends on everybody on this planet to bring more love, more joy, more art, more colors into our lives. And we make the life of ourselves, but we make the world a better place. And it's not a cheesy quote and saying something, it really is a fact. More joy, it's a duty to spread love. It's a fact that this changed the world and we can do it. And of course, if you are in a circumstance where you don't have to fear your life or don't know where you get food from, then it's even more our duty to really put in our energy for ourselves first, because it starts with a filled cup and we are full of energy, and then we can serve others. And please, let's serve with joy, with color, with kindness, with kind words, with a compliment to somebody. You may think, well, this person has everything together and look at her, she's so powerful. But even she loves a compliment. If you mean it like, wow, your jacket is so cool, she will love it. And the ripple effect goes out and out and out, and we are changing the world by being ourselves. And if you want help or you are ready to really transform your life into your dream life and let go of what is not serving you anymore, join the Joy Academy, because this year of 12 months of inner work and cool tools, practical tools, and then also meditations where you go very high and very deep, and you learn more and more about yourself and what you really want, what you don't want anymore. And life begins to bloom like a garden, and it's tailored to you. You don't have to be somebody else. You have to be you, more and more chipping away what's not you, like old expectations and old programming. Like, find who you are and who you want to be, and you can change and grow like a tree or like a flower again every day. But the essence of yourself is you, and you are unique, you are one of a kind, you are very, very, very wonderful. And I love to close this season of this 2 year, even 2.5 year season of my podcast with this interview. And I will be back with the message of joy, even more focused and magical as it was now. Now it was like woven into these beautiful conversations. And in the future, I see it like really helpful little and long sessions, and of course also interviews, which help you to find your joy and find out what you really want. And in the meantime, join the Joy Academy or check out what I just have, what the ideas I have in English. There is everything ready for you to join in Swiss, German, but my marketing and my path is now like English, international. I want to reach millions. And for that, I paused the podcast to come back even stronger. And I thank Oibel for this wonderful interview to close out this season 1 of the Let's Create Joy podcast. I love you. You are amazing. You are magical. You are powerful. And join the Joy Academy to make yourself bloom and enjoy this life even more. I can't wait to meet you. Have a great time and take good care of yourself in December, and have a great start into the new year. Bye bye.